kindergartners, it's Mrs. Miller here with lesson 4 of social studies on students having roles and responsibilities. Do you notice anything different about me today? You're right, I'm wearing my eyeglasses today. And if you noticed that, you were really paying attention. And that's great news because paying attention is part of being responsible. We're going to talk more about what being responsible means. So, what exactly does it mean to be responsible? Do you have any ideas? I have some pictures here that might get your brain thinking about the types of things that kids who are responsible do. Okay, when you have an idea in your head, would you share that idea with somebody near you? If you're at home, it could be somebody in your house or even your teddy bear or your pet. If you're in school, you can share with somebody sitting next to you. All right, ready, set, go. What does it mean to be responsible? What are some things that kids who are responsible do? One, two, three, eyes on me. Well, I'll tell you what it means. Being responsible means doing what you are supposed to do without being reminded. So it's things like cleaning up your pencil box and putting all of your things away. It's things like getting a permission slip signed if your teacher gives you a permission slip to get signed. It's things like doing your work without being reminded to do your work. It's things like hanging up your backpack or putting your other personal items neatly away. And it's things like cleaning up after yourself. I have a video here with a song. It's called All About Responsibility. And in this video, Mr. Stanley tells about responsibility. So listen very carefully to the lyrics so that we can talk about it afterwards. That's what a responsible student would do, right? A responsible student would really pay attention. Are you ready to be responsible? If you're ready, say, I'm responsible. Ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm responsible. Here we go.
Students who follow through on things demonstrate responsibility. Come on, do what you're supposed to do. Responsibility is following through. Come on, do what you're supposed to do. Responsibility is following through. So you're sitting at your school desk and it's time to put things away. You know where to put that pencil box, but you'd rather dilly-dally and play. Now, if you're really responsible, you'll do what needs to be done. Stick that pencil box in your desk. Taking care of things can be fun. Come on, do what you're supposed to do. Responsibility is following through. Come on, do what you're supposed to do. Responsibility is following through. So you just arrived at school with your teeny bopper backpack and more, when all of a sudden you get really lazy and chuck your backpack on the floor. Now you know it belongs on the hook, so you place it where it goes. Doing your morning job is responsible. Everybody knows. Come on, do what you're supposed to do. Responsibility is following through. Come on, do what you're supposed to do. Responsibility is following through. So your teacher gave you a permission slip you're supposed to have it signed, but getting that thing home or signed is the last thing Come on, do what you're supposed to do. Responsibility is following through. Come on, do what you're supposed to do. Responsibility is following through. So it's time to do your work. Are you a dependable girl or guy? No, you scribbled on your paper, or you were lazy, or didn't even try. But then you get to thinking. Take your time and do your best. Hand in your neatest work. Be responsible when put to the test. Come on, do what you're supposed to do. Responsibility is following through. Come on, do what you're supposed to do. Responsibility is following through.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that song. We're going to talk a little bit about it now. So first, I would like you to think about this. What did you learn from the video about your responsibilities as a student? Can you name one responsibility that you have as a student? When you have an idea in your head, I want you to touch your head. What is a responsibility that you have as a student? Okay, now I want you to turn and tell somebody near you. Again, if you're at home, it could be somebody in your home or even a stuffed animal or an imaginary friend. If you're in school, you're going to tell someone sitting next to you. Ready, set, turn and talk. Stop, look, and listen. Okay, time's up. Eyes on me, please. So, did you share that being responsible as a student means doing things like taking care of your own belongings, putting things away, cleaning up after yourself? You're right. Those are all things that responsible students do. Responsibility is really important as kindergartners because you're growing up and becoming big kids. And part of being a big kid is being responsible. Now, in that song, Mr. Stanley talks about following through. Do you remember how he says that? Responsibility means following through. That song's going to be in my head all day now. I just like that song. But anyway, so I'm wondering, do you know what it means to follow through with something? What do you think that means? What does that mean to you? Touch your head when you have an idea. To follow through with something. What does that mean? Okay, I'm going to give you 10 seconds. I'll count down on my fingers again. When I get down to 0, I want your eyes back on me. But right now, turn and tell the person next to you, what does it mean to follow through with something? Go. Stop, look, and listen. Okay, if you said following through means that you do something all on your own and you finish it all on your own, maybe without even having to be reminded, you're right. That's what it means to follow through. And as big kindergartners, I know that you're all able to follow through on the things that you're supposed to do, just like Mr. Stanley talks about in his song. So let's come up with a list of responsibilities that we might have as students. Can you think of some responsibilities? See how many you can name. I'm going to set a timer, and I want you to name responsibilities across your fingers. See how many you could come up with. Maybe you could come up with 5. That would be amazing. See how many you could come up with. I'll start. As students, we need to do all of our work, listen to our teachers. What else? Keep going. See how many you can come up with. I'll start the timer now. Ready, set, share your ideas. Come up with responsibilities that you have as students. All right, 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. How many were you able to come up with? Did anyone come up with 1? Raise your hand if you came up with 1. 2 or more. Raise your hand if you came up with 2 or more. 3 or more. Raise your hand if you came up with 3 or more. 4 or more. Raise your hand if you came up with 4 or more. 5 or more. Did anyone come up with 5 or more? That would be really amazing. If you did, raise your hand. Okay, well, I wonder if you came up with any of the same responsibilities that I thought of. I created a little list for us, and I'm sure that there are many, many more responsibilities. But let's take a look at what I have here in this list. So let's see. My classroom responsibilities chart. Here are some ways that you can be responsible as a student. Turning and talking, like we just did. A big part of being a responsible student is participating. So that means when your teacher asks you to do something, like turning and talking, or raising your hand to share an answer, that you do so. So turning and talking, that's part of your responsibilities as a student. And raising my hand, that is another part of your responsibilities. Cleaning up after myself, that's an important responsibility, right? And that doesn't just go for school or when you're in class. That goes for when you're at home too. That goes for cleaning up after yourself after dinner, cleaning up your room, doing my work. That's a very, very important classroom responsibility. Whether your classroom is at home or your classroom is in school, you want to make sure that you do all of your work. Why is that so important? Well, I know you want to grow your brains, right? You want to get smarter and learn a lot. So doing your work is going to help you do that. So you want to make sure to really put your best effort into doing your work. Be responsible for your work. And last but not least, responsible students follow the rules. So you want to make sure that you're following all of those classroom rules that we learned last week. Okay. Just trying to think about when we learned that. Seems so long ago already. But all of those rules that we have to follow are very, very important. Okay, now it's time for a little game called Act It Out. Are you ready to act it out? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to use our imaginations. We're going to take ourselves through a school day, and we're going to act out some different things that we need to do as students to be responsible. So, let's see. You can all stand up. I'll stand up too. And you can push in your chair. Stand right behind your chair. And we're going to act out some responsible tasks. Okay. The first one that we have to act out is hanging up our backpacks. Can you take your backpack and pretend to hang it up on the hook? Make sure to put it there neatly. Don't let it drop. Nice job. Let's see what our next responsible task is. Ooh, clean up your pencil box. Okay, pretend that you just finished an activity and now you have your scissors out, you have your pencil out, you have your markers out. We need to put them away. So let's take our scissors, put them in the pencil box. Our pencil, put it in the pencil box. Our marker, put it in the pencil box. Close that pencil box and we'll put it away. Maybe you're putting it inside your desk or maybe you're putting it inside of a bin. Put it wherever it goes. You're responsible. You know what to do. Ooh, this is a really important one. Throw away trash. If you don't need something anymore, like maybe a piece of paper that you scribbled on, or maybe the wrapper from your snack, you don't want to just leave it out for somebody else to clean up, right? That's not very responsible. No, you want to throw it in the garbage yourself. So go ahead and take that piece of paper or that wrapper, whatever it is, pick it up and pretend that you're throwing it in the trash. Excellent job. Washing your hands. Washing your hands is being responsible too, right? We want to get all those germs off so that we don't spread any germs to anybody else and so that we don't spread germs from our hands to ourselves, like if we're eating. So go ahead, turn that water on, take that soap, rub those hands together, wet those hands. Make sure that you soap up your hands really, really well. Maybe we could sing a song in our head while we wash our hands. I know some people like to sing the ABC song, right? Now, do you think it would be responsible of us to sing it out loud? No, it wouldn't be, because then we would interrupt others. So let's sing it in our head. I'm going to mouth it, okay? You can mouth it with me. All right, my hands are all clean. Now I'm going to take my paper towel. I'm going to dry my hands, and then I'm going to throw it in the garbage. That's right, because that's what responsible kids do. They clean up after themselves. Okay, and last but not least, pack up at the end of the day. So whether you are in school or at home, when you are finished with your schoolwork, you want to put your things away. If you're in school, you'll want to put them in your backpack. If you're at home, maybe you have a bin where you put things or a desk drawer. Put your things wherever they go. Go ahead. Take your things, put them away. Nice and neat. Boy, oh boy, we sure do have some responsible students in kindergarten this year. So next up, because you're such responsible students, you are going to be making yourself a I am responsible badge. Let me show you what it looks like. All right, so if you're learning from home, you'll find this in your Google Classroom. And if you are learning from school, your teacher will hand it out to you. Let's read the directions. It says, draw a picture of yourself doing something responsible on this badge. Then cut your badge out. And of course, down here, this word says, do you know what this word says? Call it out. When I get to 1, I'll count down from 3 to 1. Call it out if you know what this word says. 3, 2, 1. Name. That's right. It says name. So you would write your name at the bottom. And this, can you read it with me? Ready? Here we go. I am responsible. This is your I am responsible badge. So you'll draw a picture of yourself doing something responsible on this badge, and then you'll carefully cut your badge out. Let me show you what mine looks like. Okay, so here's what my badge looks like. This is me throwing trash in the garbage. This says trash here. And I wrote my name, Mrs. Miller, remembering to capitalize the first letter of my name, make that an uppercase. Now that I have my drawing on my badge, I can cut out my badge. Now, as we cut, kindergartners, we want to be really careful with our scissors. I like to think of my scissors as a paper-eating shark. But the thing about my paper-eating shark is he likes to eat the black line the best. So he's going to stay right on that black line. Watch as I cut. I'm going to be turning the paper so that that shark only eats the black line. Okay, so when you cut, I want you to do that too. The important thing when we're cutting is not to rush. Because if we rush, then sometimes we make mistakes. We want to take our time and look very carefully and cut very carefully. And now I have my badge, and I could color it in too. Thank you so much for learning about being responsible today in social studies with me. I hope you enjoyed our lesson. And don't forget,
come on, do what you're supposed to do. Responsibility is following through. Come on, do what you're supposed to do. Responsibility is following through.